But I will begin. So, like I said, influential game. Some of you might recognize some of the players in this particular game. White, probably not so much. Black, Choi Cheolhan, probably going to recognize him. Very strong Korean player. Nope, not in the Midwest. I are in Ohio. But yeah, Choi Cheolhan you might recognize. Very strong Korean player. And he gives us a rather interesting, influential game today. If by today you mean 5 or so years ago. Whoa. And I almost lost power there. Hopefully this will be undisturbed. But alright, we begin off pretty reasonably enough with 3-4 points. Not typically a game that you would expect to see a influential game occur. Usually when we think 3-4 point, we think territory, because sure enough, third line tends to mean territory. Fourth line tends to mean influence. So we predict a bit of a territorial game here. Now, White's got a bunch of options. Can go ahead and approach, can go ahead and take a corner, can go ahead technically and pass his turn. I really wouldn't recommend that. In this particular game, he's aggressive and decides to approach Black immediately. Now, there's a lot of ways for you to respond to this. Almost everyone has essentially their own preferred style. I prefer going ahead and pincering very, very tightly or flat out ignoring it. I usually don't have very much in the way of middle ground on that. Either I want to pincer tightly, that way if my opponent ignores me and takes the open corner, I can go ahead and follow up very severely with an attachment to a stone and get a nice little solid wall there. I like keeping things really, really simple like that. Now, some people like going ahead and pincering farther away. It puts less pressure. Your follow-up is a little bit weaker on your opponent, but it's still very, very playable. On this particular game, Black pincers tightly, and immediately, as opposed to, let's say, approaching, or again, playing the open corner, things that we see here very, very commonly, or even jumping out and playing a Joseki, that's also fairly common. I'll show that in a minute. He decides to attach, which is not so fairly common. Usually when we see this Joseki, we might see something along the lines of this, for example. Here we see Black inviting White to go ahead and just push him along the fourth line, because no one's going to turn down fourth line territory. We all like fourth line territory. So White's got to figure out something else to do. Either try to make this really complicated and get into a bit of a fight, or maybe try and keep it relatively simple and just say, fine, tell you what, you jump out, I'll connect under you, you'll get yourself a little bit of a wall here, I'll get myself some territory, and we can continue on the game that way. Both of these are seen professionally. However, White's decision, very aggressive, not so commonly seen, offers a few options to Black. In the game, Black decides to go ahead and Hane, which obviously is going to be cut. Why do I say obviously? Because there's very few things you can do in this particular situation. I mean, if you drop down, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do when Black pushes over? Are you going to extend and play a variation like this? Now you're about to be cut to pieces. So that's probably not going to work too well. Are you going to play a variation like this and try to get into a ko? It's too early for a ko. That's not going to work. So I guess they're going to connect and make really, really horrible shape. That doesn't seem like a very good idea either. So White cuts. makes things a little bit aggressive here. Black plays the Atari. White obviously protects. Now, black pulls back for the ladder. But what about O17? O17 is sacrificed for the greater good. If white wants to kill O17, he can do so. He'll live small up there. Black will get some influence, might even get that ladder going for him, since there's obviously no breakers on the board. And everyone would pretty much be happy with that. It's what we see in the actual game. However, since there are no ladder breakers, we get into a bit of an interesting result here. I mean, we could play elsewhere, play a breaker, allow black to take, play another move elsewhere. But white decides to push forward, also again threatening the ladder. However, it's also doing more than that now, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's also surrounding the corner. So now we're kind of getting the idea that, good question. I don't think I have it written down here. Yeah, I wasn't keeping track of ranks when I was accumulating my database. So I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. What was I saying? Right, so black has to figure out what he's going to do. Is he going to drop everything and protect the corner? Could, but then white runs out the ladder. So what are you going to do? Well, black says forget that. I'm protecting my shape, or my group rather, by threatening to capture you. White says I don't want to be captured. Takes a stone. Black doesn't want to be having his stone run out. So he extends, keeping the ladder working. Yes, this is getting recorded. I am recording it right now, in fact. And I will upload it to YouTube in a couple of days, I imagine. So black extends, making sure that white can't run out that little stone and be really, really annoying. However, that does mean that white gets a very nice area here. He's got a nice little strong group. Poor cornerstones, not getting... Yes, by all means, get some sleep. Poor cornerstones, almost completely surrounded, which white is obviously going to approve of. He's going to go ahead and surround it. And this is where we really see the influence in this game that I mentioned really start to take place. Because I would be kind of uncomfortable with this. I really am weary of playing influential games like this nowadays. I used to play them all the time. Now I'm a bit more about territory. As a result, I would be a little bit uncomfortable sacrificing the cornerstone, especially since it's a fairly large corner, too. But black's going to make the exchange. He can't keep everything. It's going to force white to kill him off. White has no choice but to go back and kill him off. Black is now dead in the corner. But in exchange, black gets to cut. Obviously, white wants to keep black dead, so we have some forcing moves here. Before going back and ensuring our group is alive on the right. Black plays a few extra moves. Faraji. Now, what was the point of those moves? Obviously, black's not alive, but like I mentioned, black was not trying to live with these moves. Black was trying to gain Aji with these moves, because now that he can make an eye in the corner, he's going to go ahead and turn. With his ability to make an eye in the corner and has a bunch of liberties, obviously, white has no chance of being able to kill black if black gets to throw in now. So white responds, and black has his rather large amount of influence on the outside. So the question then becomes, yes, we just gained a large corner for ourselves, but we've just given a lot of thickness to our opponent. So for black, the question is, how do I best use this thickness? And for white is, how do I take this away in a calm and reasonable fashion? Black first goes ahead and plays the enclosure, making the area nice and strong. Few questions to be made here. Do we go ahead and take the open corner? Do we try to do something locally to reduce the influence? What do we do? Any ideas? If you were staring at this huge wall with the open board, would you try and maybe go ahead and bring life back to your Q12 stone? Would you go ahead and take the corner? Would you play Tengen? I mean, what would you guys try and do? The Grim says play c4 with very, very tiny eyes. What else we have? Doubt says that he likes e3. Okay. Oh, and we also had c4. Click. There we are. Kratos says, I think we take the corner and take it at the 4-4. You can't jump in just yet. Okay, so we're all going for the corner, it looks like. Sentinel likes e4. Okay. Grim says he likes Tengen, but that was a joke, so I'm going to ignore it. When I said it anyway. You might be serious about Tengen. If you are, that's fine. But I refuse to click Tengen. Maybe try to aim at p3. Aim at p3. Ooh, you want to attach and live down there. I assume you mean after e4? Yeah, after something else. Okay. Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that immediately, because black would be happy to just go ahead and build up a bit of a wall here, and just kind of gladly take everything north of it for himself. Assuming it wasn't just pincered and killed outright, that is. But alright, few options here. It looks like you guys pretty much agree with what white does. He plays f3, actually. He's trying to do essentially what you said. He doesn't want to go ahead and play a move like c4, because this could be a little bit complicated. I mean, even if we pincer or something, and I get to use this Joseki again, which I use constantly. I mean, being able to go ahead and build influence and counter pincer while using our influence effectively would be horrifying, so we wouldn't want to do that. Well, I use this because it's really, really simple to explain, and it's really easy to see it once it's all played out, what the goal here for black is. Getting influence, counterattacking, using the influence effectively. This, I think, is one of the easiest Josekis to demonstrate that. I mean, would I play this particular variation in game? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. But you can clearly see the goal here, so I typically use it for explanation. So white plays here, allowing black, obviously, to take the corner. But if black takes a corner, then he's going to get on the then white is going to live on the outside. You might get some influence. If he gets influence or lives on the outside, or both, then black's influence isn't quite so frightening anymore. So what would you do as black then, in that situation? Would you say, forget it, I like territory too. We do need ourselves some territory, and just take the corner away from white? Very, very important decisions to make here. The Grim says that no, I do not want to go ahead and take the corner. I want to keep expanding on what I have. And he wants to play k4. Question can't be still h3. That's that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't really know what I would play at h3. Maybe just go to enclose? Maybe jump up? I don't know. We could get into the world's weirdest Chisaki and pincer. Hard to say. I don't think there's a sequence with h3 as response to f3. You essentially be going in blind from there. But yeah, possible, I suppose. Can only assume it'll get into a fight. Well, stick with your first idea, Kratos, because you and Grim are correct. Black does simply go ahead and play k4. Why does he play k4? Well, he's got this nice little wall here. We want to use nice little walls whenever possible. But he also has an enclosure with an extension, and now he's getting another one. So, just for looking at the corner, k4 works very nice with what's on the board. Looking globally at all of the influence that black has, k4 also works very nice with what's on the board. So this move is doing very good things for black. If we approach the upper left-hand corner, wouldn't be using it as effectively. You'd be using this essentially, and that's about it. White would try to get Sente here and probably play another move somewhere around k4, or maybe into the center or something. So black goes ahead and takes his large move. Black t16. White t15. s19 looks like life to me. Alrighty then. Anyone able to critique what he just said? There we go. Yep. As Ukasus just mentioned. Let's go ahead and go back, I guess, to, let's say, you. Or, no, it needs to be black's turn, I'm sorry. But yes, this normally would be very problematic. I mean, we'd want to go ahead and, respond and worry about our other eye, but we can go ahead and play here, and we can't get Atari yet, because putting himself in Atari, same thing. Now we can go out to the other eye, but not going to work. I mean, granted, something will die, but that's it. But alright, black extended, so white took his enclosure. Now he's getting himself a little bit more territory, which is not bad. Has territory in the upper left, has territory in the lower, or on the upper right rather, has territory in the lower left. So the question is now kind of becoming, how is he going to go ahead and reduce this? Wow, you are greedy. You want to go ahead and cap that stone for further expansion. Interesting. Any other ideas? Or are we all going to agree that Mav's suggestion of being greedy and trying to take the board is the best idea, Tengen? Nice. Nice. Black needs some territory, at least low stone. I think it's time to play c10. Okay. Tengen looks over-concentrated. Yeah. c10 is what I do. I think everyone's going to be surprised then. Because, no, black does not cap. Black does not split the left-hand side. Black kills off a stone. Because yes, white does want to go ahead and reduce that. And leaving forcing moves for that reduction is definitely a problem. Because if white invades, and let's say we, I don't know, get to run away or something, then with that stone being left behind, black stones become in trouble. So we have to do a little bit of worrying here. White's invasion would definitely start with the extension at Q12 for Aji. So black simply took away that Aji. Now if you want to invade, you got something completely different with almost no Aji lingering. Now, I think everyone knows the invasion here at the lower right-hand corner. Or not the invasion. Invasion slash probe slash reduction. Yeah, R3. Fairly common. It asks black, what are you going to do? Are you let me live in the corner? Do you want to let me try to break outside? What are you going to do? Black says, you're not living in the corner. Go outside. I don't care. If he wanted the corner, black could play something like this. And we could go ahead and allow white to potentially live in the corner. But we'll get Sente out of the deal. Black on the other hand said, nope, my territory, my corner, you can go away. And before I show the follow-up of that move, I'm going to go ahead and immediately play white's stone. He plays here as both an invasion, we're kind of on that outer little boundary sector line thing, but he's also giving a place for this follow-up to run to. Because this is normally how we follow up the stone. And if we already have... Oops, nope, stupid, that was already white's turn. If we already have a white stone here, then we've got somewhere to run to. Not only are we running, but now we're also attacking K4. So we can clearly see what white's plan is here. He probed to figure out what the Aji was in the corner. He knows he has the attachment, but needs somewhere to go with it. So he plays L7. Now this next move, I'm not gonna lie, it's aggressive. It's insanely aggressive. I'd probably catch myself defending. It's like, okay, I got the corner, I can take the bottom for myself, make sure that, I'm not gonna be reduced there. Fourth line's not that bad. But yeah, as Element C just mentioned, black says, no, you're not getting away. I'm going to surround you. And yes, I would definitely think this is insanely aggressive. Because he knows the Aji is lingering at P3. So he doesn't mind white playing P3, playing the variation I just showed. He's willing to go ahead and fight that. So naturally, white says, okay, if you're gonna let me try to live back here, I guess I'll try and live back here. Could black answer differently to P3? Only real way to answer differently is to either connect or play P4, I guess? Like N3 here. Well, at that point, you're kind of being a little bit inconsistent. Because now you're saying, wait, no, I don't want you outside. I do want you to live in the corner after all. By allowing black to Atari and then play a move like S2, you're giving up the corner again. And if you're going to let him live in the corner in the first place, then you probably should have played P2 instead of R4. So now we're kind of being a bit inconsistent with our play. So black drops down, says my corner is mine. White follows up, protects, and then white attaches to black. There we go. Got it right eventually. So now it looks like the game's actually turning around a bit, because these stones, I don't know how strong they are. It's just a little large knight. We know that large knights can be cut through, and if white gets some sort of group cutting through the large knight, that's definitely going to be pretty good for him. Black is definitely reduced at that point, so need to be careful on the cuts that we leave behind. On the other hand, we are playing aggressive. So black continues the aggression and tries to separate. The 2-point jump, that's true. 2-point jump also has a lot of aji behind. So white plays the Hane in response to black's Hane. And again, we're playing super aggressive. So black plays another Hane, trying to keep these stones separated. If white lives locally here while black surrounds him, then that's still fairly nice for black. He has the corner. He'll have another wall here. The middle would be almost all but sealed out at that point. Just one more wall needed, and that's pretty much that. Not to mention, we don't have to worry about ladders here, given that, they're kind of all favorable for black right now. So, white cuts. Black says, I don't care about the ladder. Ladder's fine for me. Threatens to kill the stone. Obviously, black's not going to let that happen. White tries to attack, and black turns, trying to limit the aji he's leaving behind. Now we got a little bit of a problem, because we got to decide what group is most important. We can keep going with the group in the middle. That's not the right tool that I wanted. We can keep going with the group in the middle. There we go. Or we can go back for the one on the bottom. We probably can't look after both at the same time, Element C. That is how groups start dying, especially in Don level games. And definitely in pro level games. A group that knows it's in trouble, not that difficult to live as long as it's something reasonable. This group, for example, might know it's in trouble, but wholly unreasonable to think it's going to live. But a group in the middle like this, that's already got a bit of a base. Let's see, this one, shoot, you, go away. This one that already has a bit of a base can probably live. Probably not that difficult to let it live. But it's when we start flipping back and forth with every move, trying to save this group and then trying to save that group, well, you can't keep doing that. Eventually, you find yourself too weak in one area or the other, and then something dies. That's pretty much how most groups get killed. You're trying to do too much at once, and something just gives. So, white says, forget this, I need this bottom group to live. Black follows, because we've got nice little forcing or shape points in the center that we can poke at to make sure it's not going to live. So white's got to keep responding, making sure that he's got his eyes, his base, all that good stuff. I'm going to say the center is more important. I'm usually wrong. Yeah, the group on the bottom's a bit more important than the center. Center's still open. But group on the bottom was just about to die. And you'll also notice that if this group did die, then I think black's corner on the bottom is worth more than the white's corner in the upper right. So that'd be very nice too. Black defends. White seals off his base. At this point, it's safe to say that he's probably going to live there, short of some co-threat that gets ignored. But now it's black's turn again. And black is super aggressive. So he's going to go ahead and say, the middle's mine, and keep expanding, which is not unreasonable. These white stones are shapeless. I can't really envision them getting much in the way of an eye, much less two. I should go back and talk about that, I guess. Is that really live? Okay, let's say it's not. Let's say White plays here to reduce and sacrifice. Then can we really still live here if black comes in? I mean, I guess your move is going to be here, but that's no good, right? So we need to come up with something different, I guess. I don't know, attachments? That doesn't seem very good either. Seems like that's also dead. So, yeah, short of something I'm not seeing, I think you definitely need to respond to that. So yes, black's after the very, very large center. However, I should point out that it's not just a center. Let's get white's move first real quick. Bloop. It's not just the center that he's after. Let's say he tries to do something here, and I don't know, this lived somehow. No, stop killing it, dork. Here we are. Yes, exactly. That's a lot of influence again. And we might find, for example, black once again trying to make a lot of territory on the left-hand side. Well, a lot of influence on the left-hand side, rather. So white says, I'm going to defend the left, take it for myself. Black says, I have somewhere to run to, so I'm going to invade like a crazy person. Because all I have to do is run like 2 spaces, and I'm pretty well connected up to my groups. So obviously, if we're going to attack this, we have to prevent it from connecting up. But can again threaten connection, and it's starting to go under the stone now. Get into a little bit of a fight here. Where white responds rather aggressively. Now, this is an interesting decision. Black could take right now, but he decides to go ahead and attach. Try and take more for himself. White can't connect, otherwise he gets captured. So he's got to connect, and black gets to take. White lives in the corner, black connects up, and now we've got this wonderful problem that we've got a small knight, and ladders are kind of not favorable to white right now. Still, he tries to attack. And since black's pretty strong in the area, he cuts it off. Threatens to grab his stone back. Black responds nice and strong. Making sure that he can't break through the large knight. White tries anyway. But black stones are nice and strong, so we can get them cut off. And here's where things really start to go back. This is where things really start to become a problem for white, because what's going on in the game? What's the problem? That is a nicely summed up version of the game, Kratos. He went from 2 weak groups to 2 weak groups again. And not only does he have 2 weak groups, but this small knight can be cut through for pretty easy death if this group gets nice and strong, which as white's running against it, trying to go ahead and live, it is getting nice and strong. So black doesn't care. He says, go right ahead and try and live in there. White tries to defend. Black says, "Are you sure you can read?" White says, "Yes, I can." I'm kidding, that's probably Time-Suji, rather. And then hits his vital point. Essentially what we have here is White running around trying to do way too much at once. Now, you might say that this game is a little bit imbalanced. It seems that Black might be a little bit stronger than his opponent. I would say you're correct, and I like games like this. I like games that show at a very, very basic scale, or on on a basic scale, why something really, really simple is really, really important. Like, why having two weak groups like this running around is fundamentally a bad thing. Or how you can use influence. Because it really goes ahead and puts those lessons home for me when I see them displayed this badly. Well, or this well, depending on how you want to word that, I suppose. White tries to live. Black responds by poking out his shape and threatening to connect. Connection's gone. So we just escape. Again, White tries to go ahead and capture. Black defends himself. Make sure there's very, very little Aji for White to use. I tend to like immediate approach games there, Element C. They can go a lot of different ways. It's hard to predict how an immediate approach game's going to go, because you don't know who's going to get that open corner, unless you're going to ignore the approach and take it. You don't know what the other person's trying to do. There's a lot of options available to you is all. So anyway, White plays the Hane. Black defends himself. White's still looking for Aji. Black simply cuts him off and leaves him with none. And as a last effort, White cuts off the center group. Maybe he can attack it. So first he creates cut points, as you would need if you're going to attack something. Need Aji. Black defends. Uses the cut point that he created. But again, we know the problem with this particular idea. And that idea is the one that we've already mentioned. The fact that this little cut point exists. And Black's even almost pretty much poking at it right now. So White defends. Black threatens to cut through. And now we can go ahead and cut that cut point. White realizes this. Doesn't get anywhere with his cut. And essentially from here on, it's just White having too much to do. He needs to defend himself, but more than that, he needs to defend that cut point, which he doesn't get a chance to do. So the center's dead. All of the center's pretty much dead, except for that top. Granted, White gets the capture, but it's only the one eye, and Black has a lot of liberties. So at this point, White takes a look at the game. He realizes that the middle's not going to live Black's got one eye. He can probably get another eye if he wants to play crude moves and attach, like at either d17 or d14. Plus, we can't defend those because if he gets to Hane, that's going to be Sentei as well for even more liberties. So it's clear that the white group at e7 is dead, along with the stones at L7. And to make matters worse, the group here at J12 isn't fully alive yet because the stone hasn't been fully captured. As long as that's captured, not captured, there are forcing moves to force it to be captured. Therefore, where's the second eye coming from? So there's just way too much for white to do, and he resigns. Now, that was an interesting game, in my opinion, for multiple reasons. One, I actually got through without messing up the SGF tree. Go me. Granted, it's only a 153 move game, but still, that counts. Two, we saw a couple of different options, different ideas here. We saw pretty easily what happens when you have multiple weak groups running around and why it's important to make sure that yours are nice and strong. Because you can't defend them all at once. And if you can't defend them all at once, then similarly to what we see here, they kind of just get attacked one by one until something either winds up dying or your opponent makes so much territory by attacking them that you will seriously wish they did die. So we saw that. We saw some interesting ideas on how to use influence. Really, really basic ideas, but I like games that show really, really basic ideas. So I hope you liked it too. Were there any questions about the game? Alright, it looks like we have no questions about the game. And we have a question about the game. Instead of L6, if white P3 directly. Alright, what is L6? L6 is U. Okay, that's not the move tool. U. Alright, if white P3 wait, what? Oh, instead of else. Oh, that. Okay. Yeah, that one. Good question. We go back to here, I suppose. The question then becomes, how does white extend, really? If they extend something like, I don't know, this, then we're going to probably just find black moving to enclose, more or less, and trying to build up that center again. If he plays smaller, even more so. Because again, very, very difficult to... Well, actually, he's very aggressive. He might even go ahead and try to actually rob the base and kill you, I suppose. I would move just to surround you, but that's just me. I do like White's idea of giving himself somewhere to run to first. I like that idea a lot. That idea was a very good one. We tend to always see that after a probe like this. Find out what your options are, give yourself somewhere to run, and go back and follow up. Because yeah, a lot of people would go ahead and defend, but then again, that might mean that white gets to build up for himself on the left-hand side. So that might not have been a good idea. And continuing to surround, probably the better one. Worked out for black in this game, definitely. Especially with the left-hand side still so open. You can keep using influence over there. But yeah, I think that's about what I'd probably do. This is the first lecture in years. I remember way back you giving constant lectures on lines of don't try to live with two groups at once. Yes, I do try to focus on that all the time, especially when we see something die in pro games. We tend to see it die because something tried to live it with two groups at once, or we had an option between continuing to strengthen our group or defend our territory, and if you defend your territory, then good luck trying to live, and things like that. But yeah, I always try to pick pro games that go back to really, really basic ideas like this. Oh, what proverb? Did it involve fire? Nope, guess not. The one that I hear from Dasan all the time. I thought you were about to say. You only have one weak group, your other weak groups are dead. Yeah, that definitely seemed to apply here. Very true, very true. And yet in all of our games, we probably tend to do it at some point or another. I know I will occasionally create two weak groups, even though I know it's not a smart idea. White could have used that center group to bust into black center like 07. Oh, later than this. Oh, you're saying here. Just go ahead and get rid of it. Oh, you're saying after he lives. So you're saying at this point to just go ahead and play something safer and get rid of that. Not too bad of an idea. Does give a lot away, but you're not getting killed this way, that's true. It's true that you're not getting killed this way. That is a lot to give away to black, though, but it seems that black took it anyway in the game. Interesting idea. Yeah, I do worry that it's Gote, though. That's the one thing that I was sitting here not liking about this. The fact that black can go ahead and, I don't know, play something over here to get a response and a defense of the corner, then expanding on the left-hand side again to try to make another large area over here. Sentinel raises a good point, though. Good idea, but it might just be just simply too early to play. Look to do it later, yeah. But alright, thank you everyone for stopping by.